Today on Prophecy Unfolding, we will examine the government's move towards digital Social Security cards and the prophetic nexus. Well, we're so happy that you're with us right here on Prophecy Unfolding, and we're going to be looking at current events in the light of Bible prophecy. As we do that, I'd like to invite you, first of all, very quickly, to come to Union Grove Baptist Church. We're located in beautiful Union Grove, Wisconsin, which is right in the heart of Racine County, about 25 minutes south of Milwaukee and just north of Kenosha. And, of course, we'd love to have you there. We have services at 9 a.m. on Sunday, of course, which is tomorrow, and we hope to see you there if you don't have a church home. And then we have our Sunday School for All Ages, which starts at 10:45. Then we accept on weekends where there are special events, like this week being the 4th of July yesterday. We do not do a evening service on those days where there's a holiday, but outside of that, we do. So, again, we're so thankful that you're with us here, and we do want to talk a little bit about what's taking place with Social Security cards. And this is something that every single one of us has. If you have a job, if you're getting any kind of income, if you're even retired and you have Social Security benefits, all of these things are extremely important to every single person. Well, of course, over the years, Social Security cards have been used by everyone, and most of us, especially if you've been around a few years, you were issued when you were young what was called a Social Security card, which, of course, was made out of paper. Well, those paper, if you will, Social Security cards are usually kept in your wallet or in a safe place. But what happens if you lose your wallet? What happens if the card, after years and years and years, and I've had mine for, literally decades, and they get old, they get tattered, they start falling apart, and it presents a problem for the 350 or 325 million people that live in America. Well, as we know, the government has been doing everything possible to get rid of paper and go to everything digital as much as possible. So you're like, well, why would that be an issue? Some of you might be saying, others might be saying, yep, here goes the government again. Everything they're trying to do, they're trying to make sure that it goes digital, which causes a whole bunch of issues when it comes to hacking and third-party third-party companies and so forth. So this has gotten the attention of a lot of folks, and we want to talk about it again from the concept of the prophetic nexus. Why do we care about this? Why is it an issue? So that's what we're going to be examining. And the Social Security, again, basically the Social Security Administration has come up with several things that they're recommending that people do. Now, I'm going to go through an article that came out from Fox News regarding this, and I think it's a good article. It gives you the pluses and the minuses and the protections that they are suggesting. So, again, every single person listening, this has an effect on you. So, and again, there's a major prophetic nexus here as things begin to go to the digital world. Everything, folks, is going to be going, if it already hasn't, to a digital platform. Now you say, well, what do you mean by a digital platform? Some folks that aren't into computers or smartphones may not be up to speed on some of this. But again, most everybody, except maybe a small percentage of people, are doing at least some things through the digital world. Let me give you an example. Do you have a debit card? Do you have a credit card that you use? And you say, well, yeah, I've got one of those. Folks, that's part of the digital world. You say, well, how's that? I don't have a computer. I don't have a smartphone, but I do have a credit card. Well, the credit cards, if you look at them, how much money is on that credit card? And you say, well, there's X amount of dollars that my credit card represents, but it's literally not the cash. That's the point. It isn't cash. It isn't change. It is literally a little teeny card that has your digital information on it through that credit card number. And when you go to the store or when you buy something, that is part of the digital system. And again, stick with us because we're going to get to the prophetic nexus after we go through some of this material. But realizing that you are, if you have a credit card, a debit card, you're in the digital world. Now, again, most people in our society, including young people all the way up through senior citizens, most people use a smartphone today. Most people are on the computer. And every time you go to your computer or your smartphone, you are being identified. You say, well, what do you mean identified? How can they know who's doing what? Well, every single computer has what's known as an IP or an Internet Protocol address. When you go on that computer, it is known that at least where the computer is. Now you say, well, I use my friend's computer, or I use my grandma's computer, or I use someone else's computer. But they can track it down if they wanted to. Now, most of the time, there's no need to track it down unless some type of criminal activity took place. But again, I carry a smartphone with me, and it knows everything I do everywhere I go. And you're like, well, how can it do that? Well, again, every single smartphone has various trackers on them, and you are being followed wherever you go. Even if you don't want to be followed, it knows where you are. In other words, also, let's say you just use a flip phone and you're like, well, I'm going to stay away from smartphones and they won't be able to find me. Most folks, if you watch the news or you watch any kind of, I hate to go here, but if you watch any kind of cop shows, police shows, how do they find folks? Even when you watch something like 2020 or some of the programs where someone has done a horrible event, maybe it's robbery or burglary or murder, and they're trying to track down who was where, they go to the cell phone towers and they check cell phone records and they find out where your cell phone was pinging to. So you don't need a smartphone for that. Any phone, flip type phone, digital phone, you can be tracked, and a lot of crimes have been solved because of that. And you're like, okay, why do I care about this? Well, again, I'm not really too concerned. You might be. I'm not about the government knowing where we are. And you say, well, why don't you care? Well, the issue is I was in law enforcement for 32 years. I can't hide. There's no way that Rich Schmidt can hide from the government. I'm in everything. My, if you will, biometrics are on everything. My numbers are on everything. A person like me who worked in the government for 32 years, there's no hiding. And again, many of you might be thinking, well, I didn't work for the government, so if I don't use certain things, I can't be tracked. Well, let me tell you, folks, if the government wants to find you, they will find you, regardless of your digital footprint. But the digital footprint certainly helps when it comes to law enforcement and being able to find folks and take care of business. But what are we looking at? This isn't about holding you accountable today. This is about what is going to be happening to set the stage for Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. Revelation chapter 13 makes it very clear that things are going to be taking place when the Antichrist or the one world leader takes over, whereby he will be able to track everyone. Let me read the verses and then we'll get into what's happening with the Social Security cards. So let's just basically title this the One World Controlled System. And folks, I am telling you, this isn't speculation. This is absolute biblical fact. Revelation 13 just spells it out. There's no doubt about what has to take place in the future. Again, Revelation 13 contextually is going to take place in the second half of the 7-year tribulation period. We've talked about Daniel 9:24-27 many, many times on the various shows that we do. That is the prophetic calendar. Specifically, we would call it the Jewish prophetic calendar. What has happened, it tells what has happened. We know that from the historical data. And basically, we're in an interlude right now where the church age is in effect between Daniel 9:26 and Daniel 9:27. And after the removal of the church age saints at an event called the snatching away or the catching up, or the theological term called the rapture, which will take place between Daniel 9:26 and 27, then kicks in the final, if you will, 70th week of Daniel's prophecy, which is literally a 7-year period. Again, we don't have time to go through all that. You can contact here at Prophecy Unfolding, basically through Union Grove Baptist Church. I'd be happy to send you charts on the prophetic timeline if you're new to this, but if you're not, you know what I'm talking about. All right, what does Revelation 13:14 state? It talks about an individual known as the false prophet. In Revelation 13, it's basically the false prophet, the third member of the satanic trinity, is the one being referred to here as another beast. The first beast talked about in Revelation 13 is the Antichrist. The dragon, if you will, talked about is Satan, and he's defined as such. So you have Satan, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. Well, when the world system kicks in under Antichrist himself, the false prophet is going to be doing something very specific. Revelation 13:14, and he, the false prophet, deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast or the Antichrist, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast or the Antichrist, who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image. Again, the false prophet is going to be able to give breath or life to this image, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. All right, again, we've talked about this many, many times, and I believe it's one of the most important prophecies right now when we're looking towards the future. Why? Because God is making it very, very clear that in the future, somehow this image of the beast basically will be able to have, from our perspective, actual life. It'll be able to speak, and it will be able to track all people to know whether or not they are worshiping the Antichrist or his image, and if not, they will be killed. Well, folks, the only way possible that can happen brings us to what God has allowed to develop over the past several generations, which is the digital world. The digital world tracks everything, every movement, every phone call, every text message, everything you do on your computer, everything you do on your smartphone. Every single thing you do is tracked by digital systems. Now, this isn't far-fetched, if you will, sensationalism or just trying to get folks' attention and say, well, look at what we know and look at what God. No, folks, this is reality. It is happening. So there's so much about this. I wrote a book called Artificial Intelligence, Transhumanism, and the De-Evolution of Democracy. It came out a little over a year ago when I did it, and it just goes through the things. So, folks, I've researched this. I know what's taking place in the last few months, things that have changed since President Trump went into office. Massive $500 billion Stargate project was implemented by President Trump, along with multiple individuals in the billionaire tech world. In Texas, one of the major data banks is just about completed. There'll be 20 such of these massive data banks that are just sucking up energy right and left to the point where major power plants have to be built where these digital systems are, because so much heat is generated by the computers that they need massive electricity to cool these things down. Folks, our world is changing, and it's changing now. It almost seems unbelievable that all these things that are setting up for the prophetic scenario in Revelation 13, we're seeing them happen in our generation. So again, a lot of folks are like, well, I don't know if I'm buying into this. I don't know if I agree with it. You can't deny it. Again, when President Trump came out and introduced the Stargate project, wow, folks, I am telling you, I have no doubt that that is what is setting the stage for Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. Again, I'm not saying President Trump is part of that system. I don't know that he even has any understanding about what's going to happen in the prophetic future, but nonetheless, through his encouragement, through these massive data banks that are being done, all these things we're talking about here are indeed going to take place. Well, let's get back to the Social Security issue that I brought up at the beginning. And basically, the Social Security Administration is introducing secure, did you catch the word secure, digital access to your Social Security number through the My Social Security portal. In other words, the internet. If you forget your Social Security number, misplace your card, or need to share your number for non-Social Security Administration purposes, such as job applications or financial services, you'll be able to view your number online from a mobile device. Now, I want you to pay special attention to one specific word that I emphasized. The Social Security Administration is introducing, and here's the key word, secure digital access to your Social Security number. Now, folks, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that is what the government intends to do, which is to have a secure system. The very weird thing is, though, in the Fox News article titled Digital Social Security Cards Coming This Summer. Folks, this came out on June 9th, 2025. Did you catch that? June 9th, 2025. Wait a second. Secure digital access. Well, stick with me, because when we get towards the end of the broadcast, I'm going to talk about 7 different things that the Social Security Administration is basically encouraging, or at least Fox News is encouraging you to track what's taking place with your Social Security card. If everything was so secure, why do we have to spend half our life checking up on that card? Well, I find this extremely interesting. All right, so there are a few big reasons the Social Security Administration is rolling this out now. In other words, these digital cards. Number one, aging physical cards. All right, we talked about that, and that does make sense. They're tired of sending everybody new cards and all the mail that's involved and all the work that's involved and all the postage that's involved. So basically, they want to replace, if you will, the paper card with a digital one. All right, that makes some sense. Rising identity theft risks. Your Social Security number is one of the most sensitive identifiers tied to your name. When cards are lost, stolen, or handled carelessly, it creates opportunities for identity theft, fraud, and account takeovers. Well, okay, again, that's got a plus and a minus here. There are risks if you have your Social Security card and you accidentally leave it somewhere, it falls out of your pocket. Maybe you're in the washroom and you set your wallet down, or it falls out of your purse or out of your pants or whatever you might carry your identifiers. Somebody else picks it up, that's a criminal. You've just given them tremendous access to a lot of your information. All right, so that's because it is a paper card. Number 3, why the SSA, or Social Security Administration, wants to go digital is the demand for digital access. More Americans now expect to access government services from their phones or computers. Long lines at offices and delays in mail processing have made it harder for people to get help quickly. A digital Social Security number provides faster, safer, and more convenient access to your number when you need it. All right, so when are they looking to launch this program? Well, it should be available in early summer 2025. In other words, available as we speak. So the bottom line is they go through how to set up a My Social Security account to use the digital Social Security number features. And they go through this. Again, if you're interested in seeing the article, it's Digital Social Security Cards Coming This Summer, which was put out by Fox News. So again, if you don't have a computer or smartphone, good luck finding the article. But if you are a person that uses computers or smartphones, you can easily find this article. All right, I'm not going to go through how to log in and all that type of thing. That's not germane to what we're doing. But what I want to do is spend a few minutes going through this secure system. Here we go. Let's see. Make sure I got the right number here. I believe we have 7. Let me turn my page here. Yep, 7 specific warnings to you if you use this system. Number 1, use a strong password for your account. Create a unique, complex passage for your My Social Security account and enable two-factor authentication. And you're like, well, what does that even mean? All right, for some of you, you understand that, some don't. All right, when you log into this system, they're suggesting you use a password that, of course, uses numbers and letters and different things like question marks and exclamation marks and other type of identifiers, and to make it complex. Well, you know what happens when you use complex passwords? How many of you have a phone, have a computer, and you forgot your password? And you say it happens all the time. And most of us don't use very complex passwords, and we use something that we can fairly easily remember, and we even forget that. So now they're suggesting use a strong password. So you put in this real complex password to make it almost, in your mind, impossible to hack. And then you sign up for the account. It's like, well, I haven't needed to look at my account in a while. 6 months later, you're like, I want to check up on my account. And it's like, what in the world was the password I put in there? And maybe you wrote it down. Maybe you put your password in your wallet, which is just the same as having your card in your wallet. Somebody finds it. Or you wrote it down somewhere in your house. Or maybe you just plain forgot to write it down, or you lost it, which happens all the time. So again, then you got to go through the authentication process, get your password reset, and it's just a complex issue. Again, if you want to use the system, that's something you need to consider. Number 2, avoid public Wi-Fi when accessing your Social Security number. So here's another warning. So you're like, well, I'm out at a hotel, and you're using their Wi-Fi with your computer or your smartphone, and it's like, man, I really need to get my SS number, and I need to plug into the Wi-Fi at the hotel, or maybe at a McDonald's or somewhere else where they have open Wi-Fi. And now you're putting your sensitive information out on a public Wi-Fi site. Same as hackers can easily get into those things. And if you're unfortunate enough and you're on that internet when one of the hackers or the criminals is also hacking into the system, it says don't do it because you could lose all your information and it be given over to criminals. Number 3, be cautious of scams and use strong antivirus software. Don't click links in unsolicited emails or texts. Always go directly to the Social Security Administration government site. Folks, you got these rules. That's just 3. We got 4 more to go. Number 4, monitor your credit and bank accounts using identity theft service. Now, wait a minute. Look at this. Instead of just having your silly little card in your pocket, now all of a sudden we're on the 4th thing. Monitor your credit card and bank statements using identity theft service. Oh, now I should buy an identity theft service. Now I'm paying more money, more things. And by the way, an identity theft service is a third-party identifier. What if you buy into some identity theft service that isn't honest or that criminals can hack into? And here's what it says. That's where identity protection services come in. Identity theft companies can monitor personal information like your social security number, phone number, and email address and alert you if it is being sold on the dark web or being used to open an account. They can also assist you in freezing your bank and credit card accounts. And again, we're just talking a massive amount of work just to keep track of this stuff. Number 5, check your credit reports. Folks, I'm getting tired just reading these 7 different things and all the work that this involves and the time that it involves. Number 6, request an IRS identity protection PIN. In other words, you have a number that is another form of a password, if you will, and that's what the PIN number does. That's number 6. How about number 7? Review your Social Security earnings report. Log into your My Social Security account regularly to review your earnings history and benefits. This helps ensure your information hasn't been altered or compromised. All right, did you get that? 7 major different things, all taking time, all taking away from what you would normally be doing if you just kept that little card someplace where you didn't lose it. And again, all these things may be helpful even with your paper cards. All of these protections, except, of course, for the passwords and the PINs and all those type of things, would not be a bad idea to do. But again, what are we saying here? Again, my point is not stay away from the Social Security Administration new digital numbers. My point is this is going to become dominant. It's going to be implemented. Eventually, the system will become 100% digital. Why do we care about that? Well, folks, because it plays right into the prophetic scenario. God is making it very clear. When the one world system, the one world government, the one world religion, and the one world economy get into place, everything that's done will be tracked. Now, folks, let me make it very clear. If you've put your faith in Jesus Christ, if you've received the free gift of eternal life by receiving Jesus as your personal Savior, you will not be going through this tribulation time spoken about in Revelation 13. You'll be up in heaven for that 7-year period in the presence of Christ. 1 Thessalonians 4:13-18, 1 Corinthians 15:50-58 talk about that. But folks, here's the thing. The world's system is being set up for this digital world where everyone will be tracked. Let me ask you this. Have you put your faith in Christ? If not, would you do it today?